Hey, Kathy.
Good morning.
Here we are once again.
Okay.
This is a series that we are doing. We are making 10 short videos talking about each question that
Yep.
Albertans are going to face on the referendum coming up October 19th, 2026.
Hmm?
And some of these questions are a doozy. And so we thought it would be really helpful as the Alberta Women for Independence, third-party advertiser, to kind of focus on these questions. Make sure that Albertans aren't walking in to the voting booth and seeing these questions for the first time in that very moment, that they've had some time to think about them, to understand what the question exactly is asking, what the implications are for a yes or a no.
Yeah.
And that's why we're here.
That's why we're here. And I keep saying it over and over, and I'll probably keep saying it until October, is these questions are worded in a way to bring confusion.
Yeah.
Because confused minds can't make a decision. So you'll just vote no. When in fact that is the wrong answer as far as we're concerned. That is the wrong answer. No is the wrong answer on all of them. We also, this one's going to be fun because this is now we're getting into our wheelhouse of what
this
we
one
have been
ticks me off.
I know. Because we're in the constitutional questions, and we have been traveling the province for over a year now, since March of 2025, doing presentations to both, large crowds of a couple of hundred to small crowds of a handful of people in somebody's living room, about the Constitution and how it's designed, how it's written, what is our history. And so when I first went through these questions, I was extremely frustrated. But that's the point. So shall we jump in and dissect it?
Oh, let's just jump in. It's going to make me mad.
It is. Well, then you read it just to make you even more mad.
Oh, sure. Okay. Question 6. Do you support the government of Alberta working with the governments of other willing provinces to amend the Canadian Constitution to have provincial governments and not the federal government select the justices appointed to provincial King's Bench and appeal courts?
Yeah. So why is this a big deal? Why are we talking about this?
Well, wouldn't that be nice? That would be so nice. That would be so nice. But the fact of the matter is, our premier and those who work with her, they know full well what it takes to have an amendment to the Canadian Constitution. And they're not stupid. They know our history as a province. They know what Peter Lougheed fought for. They know, oh my goodness, just the last history of the last 50 years. They know Preston Manning and how he created the Reform Party, and the whole slogan of the Reform Party was "The West wants in," meaning we want to be equal partners within Canada, within Confederation, within the Canadian Constitution. We want to have the same voting representation strength as the East. We want in. And we sent him to Ottawa and with the Reform Party, and they were the official opposition, for Pete's sake. And they still could not get these things changed. And so do we really think that by our government giving us this lovely question that it's going to change 50 years of history, that all of a sudden the rest of Canada is going to wake up and go, you know what? Yes, it has been unfair and unbalanced. Let's fix it. Do we really believe that? So you know what? For like question 6, 7, 8, 9, I feel the same way. I'm just like, this is ridiculous. But even though I feel it is ridiculous and it's a waste of time, and it's also like, are we gaslighting our citizens into thinking that by holding a referendum, this is going to work? The fact of the matter is, we still have the opportunity to send a message to Ottawa, whether they actually acknowledge it or anything. You know, we saw Kenny's referendum on equalization, where that went. Big 0, nowhere. And And so I suspect that we're going to see the exact same thing. But it's an opportunity to have our voices be heard and to take a stand and say, yeah, actually, we think things do need to change. Okay.
Exactly.
Rant over.
Rant over. Okay. That was a good one. Well, and the thing of it is, you're at the ballot box anyways. You might as well check the box. Yes on this. And for those who maybe haven't seen our presentation, they haven't had us over to their place or watched any of our previous videos over the last year. The first thing that stands out to me on this is, do you support the government of Alberta working with the governments of other willing provinces to amend the Canadian Constitution? Well, what that means in a nutshell is, to amend the Constitution, you need 7 premiers representing 50% of the population. Now, we're not going to get 7 premiers representing 50% of the population who want to change anything, because it's not broken for them. It's working
very well.
It's working just fine. It's working just fine. And so then when we look at this and we're talking about selecting the justices appointed to the provincial King's Bench and the appeal courts. So we need to remember, all of those judges are appointed by the federal government. Mm-hmm. All of them. Now you can go through and you can see on those justices who supported which party. How much money did they give them? How long have they been a supporter? What is their voting record? What have they been okay with? What have they not been okay with? And a lot of the problem with this is then we get judges in Alberta, for the most part, still a very conservative province, the most conservative province in Confederation, but those judges don't share our values. And so they rule against our values. Yep. And we just saw this with the signature campaign.
Oh yeah.
Like, I think people are not appreciating what happened there. And it's my good pleasure to help everybody understand what happened there. Like, for a bill to turn into a law, it has to go through the legislature 3 times, 3 readings, 1, 2, 3. And all the MLAs have 3 opportunities to find anything wrong in that bill that they don't like or that doesn't sit well with them. Now, the NDP, they don't like anything. I don't even think they like themselves. But nevertheless, the Conservative Party, which is the one, they've got the majority, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So they go through that 3 times. Their lawyers all go through it with a fine-tooth comb, and they find nothing that could come back at them. And that's the legislature. Those are our elected officials. Those are our lawmakers. That's what they are there to do. That's why we vote them in. From there, it gets sent to an appointed lieutenant governor. That lieutenant governor then goes through with the fine-tooth comb, or at least they're supposed to. Whether they do or not, I don't know. I'm not in the room. But they're supposed to go through it with a fine-tooth comb. And if they don't see anything wrong with it, and probably some advisors beside them, again, I don't know. I'm not in the room. But if they don't see anything wrong with it, they give it their stamp of approval. It receives royal assent, and now it's law. That's how a bill becomes a law. So now what we saw happen with the signature campaign is some First Nations people were a little bit grumpy about how this might land, because their own people were signing that signature campaign, by the way. So they decided to take this to court to try and get an injunction on counting those signatures. And the liberally appointed judge ruled against the law that the province had put in place.
Yeah.
That's what happened. She read into that law what she wanted to read into that law and ruled against those signatures being counted. She found some sort of a loophole or whatever to be able to justify her decision. This is why it's a problem.
Yeah.
This is why it's a problem. We need judges, justices, people in our legal system whose values match and mirror ours, or else we're going to completely lose our community structure when judges are voting absolutely opposite to what we believe is okay or not okay. Our social fabric is going to completely unravel, and it is already. It is already. These are the same justices that are doing, oh, okay, yeah, you know what? You're sorry. You can leave now. These are the same. These are the same justices that are going, oh, you hurt a bunch of kids. I'm sure you won't do it again. We'll just tell which community where you're going to live, and away they go. These are the ones that make these decisions, and it's just not right. So should we be able to appoint justices that align with Alberta values and not Ottawa's obnoxious values? I think so. Will this ever happen? Absolutely not. No, it won't.
No,
there's no way.
It won't.
However, I know it's in our nature, particularly as conservatives. If we see something that's not going to work, we don't waste time with it. I get that, because I'm like that too. But this time we have to kind of go against that grain, go against that tendency, and vote yes. Yes, we support the government of Alberta working with the governments of other willing provinces to amend the Canadian Constitution. And the reason for that is twofold. One, because we're going to prove that there's not enough other provinces willing to work with us. And two, we're going to prove that this is impossible, which means there's only one way to make sure that our communities, our cities, our urban centers, our rural centers, our country is protected, and that's through Alberta independence.
100%.
There's my rant over.
I like it.
So on question 6, vote.
Vote yes.
Yes. Oh gosh. On to the next one.
Thanks, Kathy. See you there.
Take care.